Good morning and welcome back. Now in the last video I made this scraper and by brazing a piece of carbide onto this handle. And what a great scraper it is. I'm out there scraping paint and all kinds of things. But I need to make another tool that's just a little bit more complicated, but not very much. So let's have a look at that. Okay, set this down and I'll get you off the tripod. Well, maybe I'll just try it this way here and we can kind of have a look. I might need both hands. Okay, now, this milling machine here, I have very little distance from the vertical head to the tabletop. And with the collar chuck in there, it's probably about 7 inches. So it kind of makes things hard to do in a vise. And I can slap this little 3-inch import vise down for quick little jobs, and boy, I tell you what, that's worth 50 or 60 bucks, whatever that costs. But anyway, so I need a boring head situation and short boring bars. So I'll mostly be clamping things down on the table that I'm boring. So I'll show you the boring heads here that I'm working with. And this is your, heavy, standard 4-inch, 1-inch bar criterion type. This is a good old Inco from about 35 years ago. It's been a great head. And this one here is about 1 inch shorter. This is a criterion square head. And they're a bit shorter, so I can use that inch there. And what I want is a real short boring bar, a 1-inch shank and 1.5 inches long. And the depth of the pocket here is 1.5 inches. So I'll take and cut a piece of steel 3 inches long. Okay, then I can actually slide it out 1/2 inch, then have a 2-inch length boring bar. And here's a standard boring bar here, standard criterion type. So we're going to take and shape a piece of metal somewhat like this, but it's going to be larger. Be a stub length heavy duty boring bar. And for the carbide, now back a couple videos ago, I did salvaging carbide inserts, see? And here's this a CNMG 432 1/2 inch circle in there. And I reshaped it, see? I'll get it in the palm of my hand, maybe you can see it. Like that. See, I reshaped that. And I made it thinner. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of steel and create a pocket for this and get the correct angles. So from here, we'll head over to the drafting table. So that's where we're going to go next. And I'll show you this bar here is one that I made. And to get that chunk of carbide on center, see, I had to forge that over. Heated it up, bent it, forged it, then created the pocket for that. And you can see how they did it on the criterion one here. See, they have that raised spot there. We're not going to run into that much problem with the 1-inch shank bar. So, okay, we'll head over to the drafting table and draw that up. Okay, see you there. And here we are at the drafting table. Let's move in so you can see what I'm drawing. That might be pretty good. Yeah, I think that'll be good here. Let me walk it up. If I can bring it right over. That's it. Okay. I think I can do this. Okay, here's the that carbide used insert that I shaped, and I want to make a boring bore that's that'll start at a 1-inch hole and go longer. So let's start drawing that up so we can come up with a piece of steel to braze this in. That'll present it to the work so it cuts metal. Okay. So I'll just put a dot right here. I'm gonna do everything 4 times larger so we can see it. Now let me see what we got here. That'll do it. So I'm gonna, it's a 1-inch cutter, but we're gonna times it times 4, so we'll make a 4-inch circle. I'll go around a time or two. Hopefully I can make that dark enough. I think I'm still in this lot. Okay. Now I'm gonna draw a line across it, right across that center. Okay. So we're going to want the tool. I want some rake 3 degrees side and 3 degrees back. So this is how we're going to get the 3 degrees side rake. With the right lever here, I'm going to put in 3 degrees. That's good. Now, this is the point where the tool point will be. And we want that 3 degrees. And this is how we're going to get it. I'm going to go to that point, and I'm going to draw this other line. Just like that. Now, the thickness of this insert is 150 thousandths. I ground it down. So now I'm going to take a ruler and mark that distance, which is 150 thousandths, but I got to, for scaling up, I got to make it 600 thousandths. And I'm going to kind of put the ruler a little bit at that angle. This doesn't have to be super accurate because you can make corrections along the way. So right here, make sure I got that. There's 600 thousandths, which represents 150 thousandths. Okay, so we'll draw that line right here. Okay, now that line represents the bottom, okay, this, the thickness. So the insert will be sitting here. So we're going to have to cut away a whole bunch of metal up here to get that insert in, or not the insert, or it's an insert that's ground, a piece of carbide at the right place. So from center, we have to measure here. Okay. Hit it right on there. Okay, it's a little over 600 thousandths, and I got quite a bit of thickness on there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the metal down 160 thousandths. Add a little bit. The thickness is 150 thousandths. I'm going to drop it down 10 more thousandths. Okay, now there's another thing to think of here. So this line is your cutting line. And so the body of the tool has to be back, right? So you have some tool protruding, and I want an 1/8 of an inch protrusion. So times 4, that'll be 1/2 inch on this drawing. And I'll mark it. Right about there. Okay. Now with the 1-inch cutter, that's really easy to figure out that distance. I want 1/8 protrusion, and so it'll be 1/4 off the diameter. So the diameter of the tool, where the cutter will be, I'm going the wrong direction here, will be 3/4 of an inch, okay? 3/4. The diameter that the tool's going to cut is 1 inch, and so is the shank. It's a 1-inch shank I showed earlier. Okay, so I'll get this piece of steel in the milling machine, and we'll cut the pocket for this. Okay, how's that sound? Okay, see you over at the milling machine. Hey, back here at the milling machine. Here's the bar. I went and I turned this piece of metal here, got a nice fit. Look at that. Oh, that's Monarch 10EE right there. Yeah. Okay, here's a piece of metal for the boring bar. I got a 1-inch shank here, and then I trimmed it down to 3/4. It's a 3-inch total length, 1.5 inches on each end there. Then I went ahead and just notched the metal out with a cut-off wheel, so I didn't have to remove so much with the milling machine. So I got the dividing head set up with a collet chuck here. Let's see how this works. It might work pretty good. Just kind of eyeball that a little bit. Let me try this. That'll work. Just about like that, I think. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And they're tight. I think I'll make a better key, but I hope that's tight enough. Okay, now I'm going to put since it's kind of sticking out, I'm going to put a little screw jack in here just to support it a little bit. Little strip of lead here. If I can't get that in there. That feels pretty good. Should give it just a little support there. Now, I got this tilted down 3 degrees, and that'll give the back rake, and then the depth of this pad here gives the side rake. So we'll start cutting on that a little bit, get that kind of cleaned up and see how it's going to do. Oh, lube on things. Fire it up. Okay, that's it. Then the carbide will sit in there just like that. And I'll brace it in there, and that's the next step. So I'll get over there and braze that in there. Okay, we'll head over here and braze it. See you at the brazing table. Okay, back over here at the table with our tool. I went and kind of trimmed it up a little bit, put a little bevel there, knocked a little bit off there. Now remember how this works. For the carbide to be on center, you're going to have to drop this down. And to get the side rake, we drop it below the center of the tool. Then the tool rotates like that, and that's how you get that side top rake. Now we got back top rake too, and I did that by tilting the dividing head. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in here if I can. Kind of a notch there if I can find it. Oh, I think that's good. Okay, so set the carbide in there. Make sure I got it the right way, because I pre-ground the edges just to save a little time. And I can take since it's got a 1-inch shank and a 1-inch minimum bore is what we were heading for on this. See, I can just take this caliper here and slide the insert over to touch the caliper that's running along the edge of the shank. See? Okay. Now, I don't know if I'm going to knock that thing around. I think I need to give it just a little more level. Just about like that. It didn't move. That edge right to that edge, and it looks real good. I'm going to add a little spoon here, but I'm going to put a bunch of flux on that. And let's heat that thing up. Sometimes it's a little tricky. A little bit of fire there. I got the oxygen up a little high. Fire coming here. Better be careful, don't burn out that camera, huh? Well, it's pretty hot. Okay, let's start heating that thing up. Look at that big old blob on the top, it doesn't want to move. Come on. I'll get some on the sides there. That's going in. I have to grind that off. I'm just going to gob that thing on there very good. Even right down in that hole. Oh, that's on there. I like it. Okay. Now let that cool down, and then I'll put it back in the cutter grinder and grind it up. And I might do that on another video. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a dandy tool. I think the total cost of this thing is the amount of gas I just used. Because the piece of metal was free. It was something I found in a field where a building was. And the carbide was a worn out insert. So this tool here probably cost $1, I don't know. But it's a custom stub length boring bar. Okay? So we'll let it cool down and grind it and all that stuff, and I think I'll load this and call it a video. Okay, hey, thanks for tuning in, and I will be back. Bye.